Yo, 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 what's going on? We're back with another one. Uh, you already know it's your boy Kadeem Reed, aka Coach, back in the building. And we're here with Keep Six, Gangs for Tuition. And we're live and we're about to have a wonderful conversation. We have wonderful panelists here, guest speakers, and basically, we're going to talk about reintegration back into the community from incarceration, as well as empowerment to unlock the criminal justice system. So with no further ado, I'm going to pass the torch off to Rachel. And panelists, when you are done introducing yourself, pass the torch on to somebody else and say something positive to that individual. It could be anything. So, Rachel, I'm going to start it off like this. Happy belated birthday. Big up yourself on your Earth Strong. You done know already. And we're here.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So yes, my name is Rachel. I am the Director of Programs and Community Initiatives for Keep Six. So that entails a couple of things in regards to advocating for inmates on the inside, helping with their post-release action plans, assisting on parole hearings, and just overall wraparound care to kind of put it in a nutshell. You'll also catch me as the co-host on Connect the Six, which is weekly on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. on Instagram Live. I'm super blessed to be here and excited to be in this discussion. I'm going to pass the torch over to Tyler. What do I have to say about Tyler? I have nothing but good to say about Tyler. Tyler is just super dope. I love working with him. He keeps it real. He keeps it 100. There's no fake anything with him. It's trap. So if you don't know what trap is, you're gonna hear about trap, and you need to find out some more info about trap. You need to hit up Tyler.
Thank you for the lovely introduction, Rachel. So my name's Tyler Murphy. I'm the founder and executive director of the TRAP program, which stands for Transition and Recidivism Action Plan. I'm currently involved in an initiative with Keep Six for their Gangs for Tuition program, where individuals can join the TRAP program and have their fees covered through this initiative in order to provide them with the confidence and the skills to make the transition and reduce recidivism. So for me, I will pass it on. The next one on the screen here I see is Damien. I like the shirt. I can see Get Rich at the top. I can't see what's at the bottom.
Die Trucking.
Get Rich, Die Trucking. Nice.
Yeah. So yes, my name is Damian Blackman. I'm director of Jada Inc., a trucking company here based in the GTA. The brand is Get Rich or Die Trucking. You can say I'm the voice of the street for incarcerated youth, anybody from the streets looking to make a transition from that life to the boardroom. And yeah, that's what I do. So yeah, I'll pass it to Jeremy. I'll say, shoot, I like the braids because it's been a while since I had me here. Braids, let's get it.
Yo, it still looks fly, man. It's shining, bro. It still looks fly, brother.
My respect, family.
All right. Hi, my name is Jeremy Prasad. I'm 32 years old. I was born and raised in Toronto. I'm currently a student at Centennial College. I'm going into the program for broadcasting, television, film, and radio and digital media. And I not too long was incarcerated myself. And I have a lot of lived experience. So I'm one of those guys that could give you the real. So that's why I'm here today. And I'll pass it on to my brother, Brian Hood, to say something good. I would say, hey, man, I hope that whatever you say could influence someone today. That's all I can say right now.
Yeah, well, all I could really do is speak from my experiences, such as yourself. Once again, my name is Brian Hood. I also was involved in an altercation that led to my incarceration for a couple of years. And, I'm hoping to get a lot of things off my chest. When I was inside, I was always like, I'm never going to leave anybody stranded in here to all the injustices that are happening. So I always promised myself that when I got out, I was going to use my voice. So I'm hoping that this can be the example of.
Nice, 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 nice. And yeah, honestly, everybody just give yourself a moment, because honestly, coming from where we all are coming from right now, it's a tough transition. It's not like a regular transition. You face certain type of narratives, and you go through you've already gone through a certain type of psychology that transition and impacted your mind a certain way. So now when you get out, you have to retransition your mind. And that's why organizations like Keep Six, Trap Program, Gangs for Tuition, these programs are essential because they actually help. It helped me. It literally helped me. And they assisted in gracing me with a second chance. So honestly, sky's the limit. So let's set this thing off right here with a little bit of a question and answer to the panelists and myself. And the first question I'm going to start off with is, what is your vision or version of unlocking the criminal justice system? Like, what is that? What does that mean to you? Anybody could start off first. Anybody. What does that mean to you? And just what does that mean to you?
I would say for me, that means having relevant programming available pre-release. I mean, for me, that's where it starts. I think that there's a serious lack of relevant, authentic programming inside of the jails. So that's what I would like to see, that the actual plan and the action plan is starting before release. Their mind is already starting to see where they're headed before coming out. So that's what I would like to see, and that's a way to unlock the justice system, I believe.
Right.
I was just going to say, in addition to what Tyler is saying, when it comes to relevant programming, having relatable mentors as well. Because the individuals that they do have that are providing these quote unquote programs, even now when I'm talking to guys, it's really just worksheets that they're getting that they completely hand in and say, okay, you're done your program. But having individuals that they can relate to, and mentors that can support them throughout that process and then post release, I think that would be super helpful as well.
Right. I agree.
Yeah, to add to what Rachel was saying, when I was incarcerated, the program facilitators, most of them, I felt that they really couldn't relate to the things that I've gone through in my life, and that a lot of things that they taught us was through a textbook. And like, just like how she's saying, it wasn't really that relatable to me. If it was someone like that has been through it, has lived it, that would make a lot more sense to me. That's
Right.
that's one of the things. And also with the other gentleman there, I'm sorry, I don't know your name, was saying in regards to programming, yeah, having that set mind state for when you're like that paved path where you're gonna go is essential. I think that's very well said. Also, while incarcerated too, I mean, I feel that a lot of the guards feel that they're supposed to be behaving in a certain manner in order to get their message across. So maybe if they were to get more interpersonal people skills training, I think that would help too.
Right. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. And honestly, just to kind of add to that, I feel like there should be some sort of reform around the message that they try to send out. And what I mean by that is have some sort of, like, I don't know, urban initiative training for these correctional officers, because the majority of individuals that are incarcerated, especially in the grand span of GTA, are Black and urban individuals. So the reality is there needs to be some sort of, programming and message that they need to convey properly. I'm going to pass it on to Jeremy.
Um, I'll say like my vision would kind of be like abolishing it altogether. I feel like the system was designed to oppress and trap individuals, and when the purpose of um, incarceration should have been for rehabilitation. So I feel like the purpose is lost there. And I think it just starts with little efforts like what we're doing here today. I feel like when people like us collectively come together and try to work on creating or coming up with the solutions so we could help the next generation under us, I think that that's exactly where it starts with initiatives just like this.
Mm-hmm. Right. Damien?
I agree with all those points. Every single one, especially, well, not especially, but from inside to the outside. So, um, Brian,
Yeah.
Brian was speaking about the guards. So guards come in with a lot of anger themselves and hostility towards the inmates, which isn't making it any easier for us to do our time. It's like we're being punished more than the crime for the crime that we're already in jail, right? We've already been sentenced. That's supposed to be our time, but they're making it even harder on us. It's like we're getting sentenced double and triple, right? I believe that we do need more programs inside from a mentor who's been there, because one of the many of the issues that we face as people coming out of certain neighborhoods is trust, and we can't relate to you, so we're not really going to get it, especially if it's we people can tell if it's not authentic or not. People can tell if it's just from a textbook or whatnot. So if you can't show those vibrations or spread those vibrations, then it's not going to be received by those guys. So they all know it's just okay, let me write this and let me get on up out of here. But it's not really making any type of significant changes and impacting any of the individuals where they want to make a change, where they could say, oh, you were really here in this position and now you're here in this position, right? So I think that's extremely important. And then upon release, like Trap was saying, we do need real programs outside of so we can reintegrate, because you just have the regular what I experienced, like John Harris Society and all those other things, which are great, but they could be more programs, especially more programs geared towards us as Black people, right? So that's my 2 cents on that one.
And you know what? Just to touch on what Damien is saying, when he says us, we have to keep in mind the trauma that we still experience from the 400 years ago of slavery. I think the trauma is embedded in our bones in a sense where even to today's date, we don't trust authority. We don't trust what's going on with us. You know what I mean? So it just leaves us in a position where we will either rebel or find a different way, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's difficult. It's difficult for you to be incarcerated. You're already doing your time, and then to have someone that is that looks like you, that's supposed to understand, now acting like you're colonizers and you're oppressors. So that's even worse on our end, because like, yo, you're supposed to be. I don't want no special treatment. I just want real treatment. You should understand, right? And the guards in our position aren't. They're not doing that. It's like they're working harder than those guys.
Right. I just want to bring it back to when you said having more individuals or programs, that it's more on a mentorship basis. So I'm not going to lie. I had one opportunity in the East, and no, not one opportunity. There was like 3 opportunities, but it was like a fight for that particular guard to even make those programs exist, to even make them happen inside the jail. She had to fight her own fight. But the thing is, at the end of the day, she got it. And when she got it, she made use of it. So now Jeremy, I think we had a session. Me and you went to a session. Yeah, we went to one session. But basically, there was another session where I had the opportunity to meet an individual. Shout out Jeff A.D. Martin. He actually came in, and when he came in, I'm telling you, he has a story that touched me, like super touched me. And he lived that and transitioned out of it. And honestly, I say hats off. And that is that level and, image that you kind of want to see while you're incarcerated. And I tell you another joke. I seen his book premiering in the share paper. So we get shares in the institution, right? As an urban newspaper. And so I got the share, and I actually seen that he had a book called 10 New, what was it? 10 New Men, or I think it's something like that. And I took the clipping, and I'm like, I'm going to meet this individual. And then boom, he just showed up right inside the jail. And I really think that other institutions should have more and facilitate more mentorship programs like that throughout, not just in the GTA, through the federal system, through the provincial system, throughout. So that's definitely where we're going here. Next question. Can you describe your most vivid memories of incarceration?
I got a lot.
What's most for everybody here? What is your most vivid moment of incarceration?
Calling my son and having to explain to him that I haven't delivered this truckload yet, and it's been 6 months, and I haven't returned back to the country. He's old. He was old enough to understand that there's something wrong with this load, because you're not gone that long, maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, but 6 months without me hearing or seeing you. And the last time I saw you was we were together. So that was probably that was it. Having to continue, not lie, but omit certain things. Yeah, and then it hit me like, yo, it wastes you.
That's so true, man. That's so true. That just brought me back initially.
Pardon me?
Sorry, no, go. You're not done.
No, I was just saying, at that point, I realized that, yeah, I'm living a waste you life, because I just stole years from my children.
Yeah. I mean, initially, I was going to speak about violence that I've experienced or been a part of, but that actually brought me back to something. So for me, it was when my daughter was coming to see me wearing orange. I was telling her I was doing construction, that I was building this building, that the building that I'm in right now, because she's asking, when are you coming home? And I'm saying, I'm building this building. We're not done building it yet.
Right.
And one time they came during the day to visit me when I was working in the kitchen, like months down the road, and I'm wearing white at this time. And she was so shocked. She's like, where's the orange? How come you're wearing white? And the first thing that came to mind was, I finished building the building. Now I'm painting the building, because painters wear white. And I kept that one up for like over a year with her. And it was the same thing. I felt bad lying or omitting stuff, but I didn't want to explain where I was. And now fast forward years later, she's getting older. She's seeing prison on TV, and she put 2 and 2 together. And eventually when she was like an early new teenager, asked me about it and said, like, that was a prison you were in, wasn't it? And she remembered like the metal detectors and taking off her shoes. And so she put 2 and 2 together years later, and then realized that that's where she was visiting me.
That's deep. That's deep, man. That's deep. So that just shows you that, that could come back.
Yeah.
That could come back. You know what I mean? And I personally have a similar experience. The only thing is, I really don't want that to come back to me, because I remember my most vivid experience is my daughter coming to see me. So my parents brought my daughter, my son, my kids, and they came through the door. You know, the east, how there's a visiting room, come through the door, whatever. And I think my daughter was kind of misbehaving. But as soon as she turned and she seen me, she just turned into a light. Literally, she just turned into a light. And she came over and sat down. And she's like, Fafa, what you doing? What you doing, Fafa? What you doing? Like, where are you, Fafa? And I had to say, my dear, I am working in the kitchen. I'm working in the kitchen right now. I'm literally working in the kitchen. Fafa, why do you wear the orange, Fafa? This is my uniform. So honestly, brother, I feel you. I feel you, because that is my most vivid memory. And to go to sleep with that as a father, it makes you feel, it makes me feel, like I let her down. But the only thing I could do right now is transition that same impact back into her life in a charged, positive way. And those are transitions that we all have to make.
100%.
Yeah. I wanted to speak on like a lot of things that I experienced was like lockdowns, like, probably like 5 days lockdown, no shower. And then just to end it off with getting strip searched at the end of all that, you know, random strip searches, just feeling violated all the time. A few times I got dry celled for no reason. I failed the scanner and they swear that I had something on me when I didn't have nothing. They'll place me in a dry cell with a toilet that doesn't flush, and I'll be there for days. And if I fail the scanner again, which I would, I'll refuse my food, everything. Fail the scanner again, they'll try to put me in there for another week. So that's a lot of like injustices like that where you can catch charges in jail, So I had months where like I'm just catching charge after charge after charge in jail. And I'm just like, it's a never ending thing. But I was never found guilty for those charges, in jail. But another thing that I had to experience because of those charges was a lot of segregation. So I was in seg a lot, and it's a very like a mental warfare when you're everything's taken from you and you spend so much time isolated. And they always ask you, are you suicidal? And I'm like, why did they ask me that? Like, and then you start to kind of like give into this inmate image that they kind of orange versus blue, and you kind of give in, and you become somebody that you aren't sometimes just to get by, So another thing that I really wanted to mention was the psychological warfare that they have. Well, they kind of have it set up a way where inmates will turn on each other, So it's very psychological in that sense because, there's like a lot of gangs and there's a lot of stuff going on in the jail, and they might put an opposing gang member on a range of their opposing gang, and they do stuff like that on purpose. And I've seen a lot of people get, a lot of jail politics. I've seen a lot of people get beat up on a daily. I've seen numerous amounts of blood spilled, and I've seen people get cut in their face, all types of stuff. But even though through all those bad conditions, it's very rough, especially with COVID. Even with all those conditions, it helped me to realize that I'm a strong individual, and that with the right willpower, anybody could change. If you want to change within and you look at your surroundings and you realize this isn't where I need to be. You know what I mean? Like the thin mattress, all these things. Like, you know, we deserve better, you know? So I just look at everything that I've seen vividly and I remember. It has caused a lot of trauma to my mental state, you know? But no matter all the worst conditions, segregation, dry cell, whatever it was, like I just know that the determination in me is even much greater because I've seen the ugly side of things. So I just hope that even somebody without having to go there, if they could hear what I experienced, maybe they would try to stop themselves from going there as well, because it's not a very pretty place. It's a very ugly place, you know?
For sure, brother. Thank you for sharing that experience, man. Like, because it's real. It's honestly real. You see some things, you go through some things, and it's like how do you even manifest that to your mind? And like you just seen that, or you just got strip searched. You know what I mean? Like in the kitchen, you literally have to get strip searched every single day. So you work 6 days out of the week. You're up at 4 o'clock, and they literally draw for you at 4:30. Like what? Like what? And you have to get strip searched when you're coming back. That's crazy. But anyhow, uh, the next question is: can you recall the feelings and emotion you experienced once released from the duration of your incarceration? So basically, how did you feel when leaving through the front door? Like when you were right at that pivotal moment of going through the door, how did you feel?
I guess I'll start that one because I never answered the last one. But um, it's surreal. You know, you feel like it's the other side of the dream. You know, you dream about this moment. You dream about that moment for for all that time, and then when it's actually happening, it's like, I didn't believe it was actually real at first. You know, it's so surreal, and then slowly you start realizing, you know what, this is not a dream. This is really happening. I'm really out here. And it's a beautiful feeling of elation. You know, and it's just, I can't explain it. I would have to use the word surreal, and it's an unending feeling of happiness. You know,
I
that
could
just
almost
goes
feel it
on and
again.
on. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, no high can't you can't really explain it unless you've really been there and walked out of those doors, especially if it's your first time. So that was my first time doing a long bid, right? So I couldn't believe even that whole day. I was like just waiting in the bullpen, waiting to be released, and like, yo, is this really happening? Am I gonna catch a charge? Are they waiting to gate me? All these things are going through my mind because I'm like, unless I walk through those doors, this isn't real yet. And then the door opens up, and it's like a movie. For me, the sun hits your face because I was released on June 6th, so it's summertime,
Mm.
lit.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So walk out, the sun hits my face. I could feel the wind. I'm looking around, and I remember my homie. He's waiting there to pick me up, and I just remember screaming, like screaming, because I was like, I'm free.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next day it rained. And I remember just walking outside in the rain. I went for a run in the rain. I just ran for like maybe 3 or 4 kilometers just in the rain. People looking at me crazy, but I didn't feel rain in so long, right? I was in the self detention center for a bit. There's no real yard, no nothing, no windows. I didn't see, and then everything looked brighter. I remember riding down the highway, and then everything looked super bright. Like you hear the kids talk about 4K. Yeah, it was 4K. You know what I mean? Yeah, and that's a feeling that you can't. Yeah, you just can't really explain. You just cherish it. You know, it's surreal.
I would say and I just came up with this right now, listening to everybody. When you're a kid and it's Christmas, you know, and you're waiting for morning to come and to open that gift, and you're not sure, like you can't sleep. It's hard to go to bed. It's like you're anxious. You're looking forward to it. It's similar to that, you know. And then you're absolutely right. If you have worries about being gated and things like that, so you know you're kind of paranoid at the same time. Like you don't know if it's real. You don't know if something else has come up or like what's waiting for you at the gate. So and to people listening who maybe don't understand what being gated is, it's when the police will wait outside of the jail to arrest you for a different charge on your release. And that's actually a practice that happens. So people who think they're being released or they are being released for one sentence, but they do have new charges and they get picked up as they're kind of walking out of the jail. But outside of that, yeah, I would say feels like Christmas as a kid, where you know you can't sleep, your mind's going, your mind's racing, and then yeah, once you're out and it feels different. You feel lighter, you feel but also like paranoia. You feel like it can get taken away at any moment. It takes a while to you know to like get used to it and to feel like, okay, this is like real, this is permanent, this is, you know, like my freedom is up to me, and to feel like it's up to you, whereas it can't just be taken away by somebody else. It takes a while for that feeling to go away as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wanted to say that like it was mixed feelings for me, because as much as I was happy, I had like a paranoid feeling that like the odds were against me, that I had so many conditions for my parole that I felt like it was almost a setup for me to fail. But that was my own self-doubt in myself, you know, because I almost felt like I was safer in jail in a way. And it's not from people or enemies, but it's from the police that do harass me a lot, you know. So but against all the odds, I'm done parole now, and I did not breach. And like, you know, I overcame all the doubts that like I had for myself. Like I was going for dinner in Kadim's cell, and I would talk to him about this and say, I don't want to go for parole. I want to just stay and finish on my time, because I wanted to come out without conditions, in fear that I would come out with conditions and then end up breaching, and then have to do in my whole 2/3 or my whole sentence, actually, because instead of 2/3, I would have had to do it the whole time if I breach, right? So, you know, it's just that little fear that I had. But, you know, at the end of the day, freedom is a must, and it's a very beautiful thing, you know, and it's what you do with your freedom, actually, because, you know, I know a lot of young youths out there that it's easy for them to get back into the streets or whatever. You know, some people need to provide, or there's little opportunities that pop up. But like as soon as I got released, those opportunities popped up for me, you know. Everything you could think of, this, that, and the third, everything's available free. Here, have it free, you know. But it was like up to me to make that choice, you know, to say, nah, you know, like I live in a hood area, but across the street, there's some beautiful, big, rich houses. So I said, instead of going right and going to check out the mandem, let me go left and go for a long walk. And like when I freed up, that's what I love to do, just go for long walks. I didn't care how long, how far, or where I went. I just wanted to walk, you know? So that's something that we take for granted. And, you know, just being around family and loved ones and stuff like that.
Right. No, 100%. Damien, you said you went for a jog in the rain and people were just looking at you like you were crazy. Brother, I feel you. I did the same thing. I did the same thing, brother. I got out. I literally like when I got out, my parents picked me up, and just getting out, feeling how fresh and the real moisture of air,
Right.
all of it just came back to me, like the elements, it all just hit me, and it was just like, yo, how did I miss this?
Right.
My whole mindset just crafted a whole, like, you know, the game Minecraft?
Yes.
The institution itself Minecrafted my mind that I forgot about essential life.
Right.
It was that deep for me. And it's that deep for you guys. Because we all did something impactful. But right here, Rachel, I'm going to open up the floor to you right now. And I want you to say anything in relation to what we're talking about right now, Rachel, because I know you got it.
So I mean, I've never done real time. I've done a little bit of time, but not real time. But I've supported somebody who has had a very, very long bit, 10 years to be exact. And as a loved one, having a loved one inside, the feeling of helplessness from the outside, when there are lockdowns and you can't hear from that particular loved one, when you're hearing about what's going on the inside, and especially too when you combine that, one, supporting them as your loved one, but also in the work that I do, I'm seeing it from both sides. So I'm also hearing about the racist remarks that are being made by the COs and the CX2s and the keepers. I'm hearing about individuals that are getting moved from different ranges where they have incompatibles. I'm hearing, and it's not just individuals that are calling in to say, I need help. These are people that the person I was supporting was in with. So I was seeing this live. I was seeing this firsthand. And so it's really that feeling of helplessness where from one side, I'm saying legally they can't do this, but I'm also seeing from the other side that regardless, they're still doing it. And there's very little you can do, no matter how many grievances you file, no matter where you're escalating it. When you actually see how the system works, real life, that was something that was, to be honest, it kind of what motivated me so far in terms of where my fight is right now when it comes to prison abolition and when it comes to really fighting for those that are in on the inside. It's because I was seeing it firsthand from as a spectator, but as someone who was supporting somebody. And then the process of seeing that particular loved one, but also friends of mine who came out and seeing that same level of paranoia that a lot of the guys have been speaking about. Mm-hmm. As weird as it sounds, I became paranoid as well, where it's like if I was driving, I was always watching my mirrors to see if anybody was following, because I heard of how many people have been violated for the smallest things. And so it's not just like, it doesn't just impact the individual, it also impacts their family, it impacts their loved ones, right? And many people don't realize that. And when we look at the support systems that are in place in terms of from a rehabilitation standpoint, it's imperative to have good family support. But I mean, it's very difficult for those doing their time, but their family is also doing their time on the outside as well with them.
Word.
And that's something that a lot of people don't realize. And on top of that, from the outside perspective, there's very few people who can understand what that is like, and very few people that you can speak to about it. And so I've had so many wives and mothers and sisters who've reached out to me because they don't know where to go or who to talk to or what to say, because when they talk to friends or families, they can't relate. And a lot of females in particular get so wrapped up in supporting that particular loved one on the inside, they forget about themselves. And that's a whole other side that a lot of people don't realize. And so that's where I kind of worked to create a space where a lot of these family members had somewhere to go, where they had individuals that they could talk to who've been in similar situations, who've been holding it down for their family members for 10 plus, 13 plus years, and are able to understand how to properly navigate the system. Because you're not trained for this, you're not provided a guidebook for this. And unless you know individuals who've gone through it, you don't know the resources that are available to be able to properly support that person.
Absolutely. Yo, that's surreal. That's surreal. That's like That's double jeopardy right there. You know what I mean? You have your families. I never even thought of it that way. I never thought of it like, yo, my loved ones on the outside are literally doing time with me. When they can't hear from you or you can't hear from them, that's an impact. That is an impact. No. I don't think, imagine that. Like, you know how, you pick up, you walk over with your slippers. It was the slippers that always killed me. The, those orange slippers. Those ones, like, they're so bad. Everybody in the morning just, and you over to the phone. You pick up the phone and you make a call. And for some odd reason, that one time or whatever, or at that particular moment, you don't get through. Or there's a lockdown. Let's say there's a lockdown and you can't make your call. You can't make your press. And it's like, I couldn't call my loved one. But at the end of the day, they're on the outside and they're like, yo, I never heard from him. My mom, this is how my mom does it. Oh, Kadeen, I'm gonna hear from him. And I want to know if him eat. I want to know if him all right. No, but I say it as a joke. But in all reality, that's real. That's impact, people. As simple as it is, that is impact. And
most definitely.
Exactly.
I totally agree, yeah.
And we need to use that impact to empower. Because that's flame. That's flame right there. I don't know who else has that. Like, who else feels that?
Well, I feel that absolutely. Whoever, it's like a ripple effect.
Mm-hmm.
And whoever is in close contact with you are going to feel it the most. Even people who are not even in close contact with you are going to feel it. And yeah, everybody feels it. When you alone are there, it's felt by the whole community to a certain degree. You know what I mean? And yeah, I totally agree with that.
Right. So we're gonna move on. And this is great. Honestly, like, I like this. The energy's high. I like this. So the next question right here is, what were some of the resources, if any, offered to you by the system upon your release? So, like, did they navigate anything for you, and what were the actual resources? Because if you actually Google the meaning or even search Wikipedia of what criminal justice system means, they have in their mandate to rehabilitate. Their goal says that they are responsible for rehabilitating criminals. That's what it says. Criminals back into the community. So if you got any resources, let me know right now. Let the community know.
I wanted to ask you that, like, what are the resources? Because, I don't really, I've been putting in request forms for everything, and I'm really trying to figure that out, because between the lockdowns and, like, all these things, like, you be trying to do a program, you might look forward to it, put it on your, save it in one of your books. Like, you have these calendar books, you'll write down the date, looking forward to the program, and then they'll just come tell you the program's been canceled, or for example, I was trying to sign up for a college communications course in there, and the day of, they'll tell me, oh, there's no funding, we couldn't do this program, come back in 3 months, try again in 3 months, same thing. So I feel like other than like rec or like the odd little program where anyone gets a certificate as long as you show up, those type of things, it's like I don't really know what's there. And I feel like this is where we come in. We were in there, and I feel like there's so much time You know, time is valuable, you know? So with the time, like, you know, young men, we could get educated. Like, there's a lot of things that could be done in this time, you know? And they don't even allow us to get books. You know, we try to request books. They'll say, oh, these books aren't allowed in the jail, you know, but then they have urban books and all these other like materials with females. If you want to get pictures of females and stuff, they'll let you get those, but they won't let you get a book that will help you learn something, you know?
That's
So
purposely done.
I agree.
That's purposely done. I bet. Listen, we're fighting the system. We gotta understand that we're fighting against the system, right? And let's speak about our people. Let's speak about Black people, right? They don't want your mind to be free. They don't want you to level up. They don't want you to take their power away. So they're gonna feed your mind with crap. They're gonna continue to perpetuate the detrimental lifestyle to our people. They're gonna keep forcing and feeding you that stuff. They don't want you to do that. So they're not gonna let no real literature in. They're not gonna give you any programs. They're not gonna do any of that, right? So now we have to physically do it ourselves and understand that, like, it's not going to happen. They're not gonna give it to us. And if we continue to ask and anticipate, we're gonna be waiting for a very long time. So now we got to bully our way and make sure that we do it right. Whether I don't know how to do that specifically, but I just know it needs to be done because they're not going to help us, right? It's systemic slavery still, right? You can't do us like they were doing to slavery back in the day. So this is another way and another form of doing so, breaking up our communities. Granted, we did commit some crimes, right? And we must be punished for it. However, they don't want to rehabilitate us. They don't want to correct our behavior because they want to keep us locked in, right? So we have to go fight for our damn self.
But just to kind of touch on that, I feel like the system has not taken the actual step to really vividly see why an individual commits an offense. Like, why? I think they just wait till the offense is committed and then they try you on that offense. And then that is what you become. Do you get what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? You follow?
No.
Elaborate, please. Because
at the end of the day, why would an individual go out there and do something? It's like a business. It's like you're opening a business. You're motivated to, open a business. You've been conditioned, maybe by, a certain relative, or maybe by, it doesn't matter. But there's a particular reason. It could be your life conditions that you're living or you lived when you were growing up. It could be because maybe you were molested. It could be, there's so much different reasons. Right. But at the end of the day, I feel like the system does not take the actual time to go and assess that. And I use the word assess because I hear all these, everything over here, or gotta assess this. But why aren't you assessing a group of individuals that really just humbly want to reintegrate back into their own main lives?
That's exactly why. They don't want you reintegrated back into nothing, right? They need you down and out, right? Remember, we are, and this is my opinion here, folks, right? We are, those are the politicians, the CEOs, the police. Those are the new, those are the descendants of the slave catchers and slave masters, right? All those things are just passed down and packaged differently, right? So now we have freedom, so they can't do the same things or the same methods they were doing before, right? They don't want you to be powerful. They don't want to give you back your dignity. They don't want that. You're worth more to them down and out, right? You're not a threat to them, right? You're not a threat to the markets, financially, business, none of that. They need you gone. So they're not gonna put up nothing, right? It's the pipeline, right? They're not gonna put up nothing to do any of that, right? So we got to understand that they're not going to help us. The resources are there if they wanted to. People always complain that the system is broken. The system's not broken. It's working exactly how it was designed to be working, right? We got to understand that and stop. We just got to go do our thing now. Right? And we have, and that's going to take a lot of time, because now we have to, it goes to mental health, it goes to trauma, it goes back to all these other things that we have to now work on from the outside, right? And then that's another way of helping people who are coming home as well, is to change their mentality, help them to open up their third eye and see exactly what's going on, because they don't want us to become powerful, right? Remember, we were colonized, we were conquered, right? A person and people in power isn't going to give the powerless the tools to remove them from power. That's just not how a power struggle works, right? And for the ones in power right now, you think they're going to give you guys, the slaves, the ones who are supposed to inherit the earth, the tools and the knowledge to come and wake up? They're not doing that. We have to now go and educate ourselves and get it out the mud.
Right. I totally.
The first step is getting over the brainwash.
Exactly.
The kids have just been brainwashed to think in certain, move and act a certain way, never given the tools to actually run our own businesses and do our own thing.
Exactly.
Only given the tools to just follow the line.
Right.
Right?
And
like you were saying,
so
Kadeem. Yeah, like you were saying, Kadeem, prevention is better than cure. So if we were accessing the reason why people end up doing these things, we'll be a lot better off. But they don't really want to put resources into that.
Hell no.
They rather do the cure.
Songs, they have all these things that are literally perpetuating our death. Right?
Yeah.
Listen, don't get me twisted. I like trap music. I'll listen to all that. I don't want to be holier than thou, but I understand that. My mind's open to understand that that's death. That's teaching the young ones to go die. We know that those guys aren't doing that type of stuff. First of all, they can't do that, right? That they're on tour, they're working, they're in the studio, whatever, right? Everybody got bodies and everybody got money and all this stuff. But now the impressionable kids who are malleable, now they're out there thinking, oh, this is the way for me to be seen as valuable. This is how I become a man. This is how I become a woman. This is what it seems like. So they're gonna go follow their favorite entertainer. They're gonna go follow their favorite actor, and that's not real. It's all smoke and mirrors. And then we're growing up in a low income neighborhood, right? So anything that glitters is gonna seem like gold. We want to go do that because we look around, there's piss in the hallways, there's poverty, we don't even got brand name cereal, we ain't got nothing, we got fake cheese, we don't got nothing real. So anything that they're seeing is going to be impressionable to them. They want to go do that, right? And so they're pushing that agenda. So all the music, all the frequency, the low vibrational frequencies that's placed in the music is brainwashing our children, and we go follow that. So we have to hold ourselves accountable and like the music and stuff accountable as well, right? Because it's harming our children.
Right.
No, and you know what?
We got the power, right?
I feel like
you know what? Even me personally, like I grew up without my father in my life. My father figures were Mobb Deep, the Wu-Tang Clan. This is how I thought.
Right.
This is what success looks like as a grown black man.
Right. That's a fact.
You know what I mean?
Sure. And I feel like it's a concept of reversing a psychology. So you have to literally reverse the psychology, literally like reverse that psychology, because it was almost as if like we were taught a certain psychology, and we just got to reverse that and be empowered, but as one, as a community.
Right.
I agree.
Understand what community really means. Community actually could lead to a body of government.
Oh, 100%.
Remember that community is responsible for a lot of things. So just remember that. We're kind of, time strapped here, and I really want to pass the torch right now to Tyler, because real talk, Tyler has a wonderful program. I personally was a participant of that program, and the trap program, brother, it's an actual program where you could come and be you, and you're in that program with individuals lived in experience, whether if it's the streets or jail, and you're there literally congregated, learning and sharing your experiences on how to deal with certain things that you go through on a day-to-day basis transitioning from incarceration. Brother, it's loud. Brother, it's loud. I'm not gonna lie.
Thank you, man. Thank you. And definitely, like even seeing like how you navigated the program and like firsthand witnessing the effect it's had on you. That's exactly why I'm doing it. I was just actually I'm running the program this evening. I was just texting the guys that are waiting to join. I sent them the link for this and told them just hop on this for right now, and then we're gonna run the program afterwards. But yeah, it's very important, man. It is for everybody to feel like they're understood, and they're amongst people who get it and have been through it. And it for me, and what I'm really promoting is it starts with that confidence that you could see yourself doing something different, right? It really starts there with the visual, like, you know, I feel like I could do it. I could see myself doing that, or like help provide a blueprint for people to follow, because they're not really there. They're few and far between. I didn't have one to follow myself. So I created one. I mean, there's actually case law that you can refer to that I've created for people with criminal records to become paralegals and lawyers. You can refer to my case and use that as a precedent for yourself. So I'm trying to lay a foundation, a path forward, and motivate people to feel like, you know, we really get caught up feeling like you're not going to be nothing but what you are when you're in that lifestyle, and it's hard to see outside of it, and it's hard to picture yourself either like in a suit or in an office or in a job, or even like your voice being taken seriously within what we would call like regular society. But it's here for us, man. It is. And it's really like, it starts with us. But I do understand there's a lack of motivation. There's a lack of like a vision that you could be there. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. That's what TRAP is. That's why it's called Transition and Recidivism Action Plan. And I just keep pushing forward. And I really want to get this program inside of the institutions. I've already tried. I've been denied access to facilitate programming in the institution. I'm not giving up. I'll continue to try. I'll continue to put together another proposal to get this inside. But I think that's where it needs to start. And I'm just going to continue doing my part to help put positive back into the world. I feel like I'm trying to buy positive karma for all the negative things I've done in my life and the way that I've contributed to destroying my community. I owe it. I owe it to my city. I owe it to my community to give back.
Right. Yo, that's dope.
Yeah, I feel that.
It's effective. It's effective. Like I was a participant, and it's not like when you're done trap, you're out of trap. Like it becomes an embodied part of your support system. And somebody in the comments, I want to shout out every single person that messaged inside the comment. My bad. That dropped a comment. I want to say shout out to you guys, because I've been reading y'all comments, and you guys are fire. You guys are fire. Right now, you guys are fire. So thank you for that. Right now, we're kind of strapped on time, so we're gonna end this here. It was a very powerful conversation. There's a couple things though I really want to say. I just want to give some quick shout outs. And the first shout out I want to give to is God. Like, number one, I want to give a shout out to God. That is 100% sure. I just want to take this moment to shout out to God, and you already know. And I'd like to shout out to my father and my mother, and to everybody, my whole support system. And that's Keep Six, that's Gangs for Tuition, that's TRAP program, that's YSM, that's Collective Group, that's Black Farmers, that's everybody. And I do this with a passion, because that has really helped me like transition my energy. I've been impacted in a way, like I've been impacted by violence, literally by violence many times. And sometimes I don't even know how to decipher this impact. But with this designed support system, It has literally lightened the load on the journey. And this is what you call empowerment. This is what you call community. So, with that being said, I'm going to pass it off to the participants. Just, say anything to the audience. If there's one thing you could say to the audience, lead them with right now, that maybe they're walking in the shoes that you've walked, leave them with something right now. Boom.
It's not it. That's what I would leave them with. It's not it. You can move forward. You're not stuck where you are. There's nobody holding you back but you. I'd like to give a shout out to everybody here and the panelists for participating and sharing your some of your story. It always feels vulnerable when we're up here doing it, but it's helping somebody else, and it helps. It's therapeutic. It helps you get away from it. The more you talk about it, you don't have to hold it in. You don't feel judged by people. So shout out everybody here. Shout out everybody listening. Especially I know my mother-in-law, Valita Samuels. I seen a comment come up here. Love her to death. She's been so supportive of me, and really her. She's been a part of my transition. My wife's mother really supports me, and she's always been there to support me and make me feel like I have her love, and she has my back, as well as my wife who's listening too. I appreciate everything she's done as well. And it took the assistance of others for me to get where I am. And some people don't have it. So that's what I'm trying to be, is that support system for others that need it to move forward.
Ashe.
I'll echo what Tyler's saying, just in terms of like, it's not over. We've live examples and living mentors of individuals who've been able to overcome the barriers. It isn't easy, I'll say that, but it's possible. And that's where these resources and supports are in place. I do want to say a special shout out to a couple of people that I've been seeing in the chat who are also doing this work. Lindsay from Toronto Prisoners' Rights Project, Sheena from Amadeus, who also ones who really advocating for those that are in on the inside. Lindsay did speak about reintegration and also what that looks like from a woman's perspective, which is something that we don't speak on a regular basis. We always focus on the men, but from the female perspective as well. And that's something that I'm working effortlessly to bring some change to, in terms of really providing that support level. But I do want to just shout out everyone that came on as panelists and shared your truths, allowed yourselves to be vulnerable. And then also those that have been watching, tuning in, and sharing their comments as well.
No doubt.
Yeah, I'll give a shout out to all the panelists. Give a shout out to all the people that were messaging, doing the comments. I'd like to give a shout out to Vanetta, if she's still watching, to my daughter, and anybody who's watching. I know it sounds cliche, but violence is not the answer. There's always a better way. Talk to somebody that you know. Talk to somebody who's got a level head, and just make the right choices and make the right decisions in life. They say that the righteous road is a narrow path. It's not always easy, but you in your heart, you will know it's the best way. So
Shout out to everybody in the panel. Great conversation. To everybody who's watching, I would say that your thoughts create your reality, right? So learn to protect your thoughts, think better thoughts, and your thoughts can literally create your reality, right? So it's all about manifestation and vibrating high, right? So learn some of that, and yeah, we good to go. Like everybody in the who's been following, shout out to them. I see Robbie Khan in there. That's like my first friend ever when I first came to Canada. It's wild to see him in there. We lived at Jane and Driftwood when I first came to Canada. So shout out to him and Vanetta and everybody else who's in the chat, man. Like, yeah, we got this too, bro. Like, we got this. We can literally pull this up. This is our time, right? This is literally our time. Just got to go ahead on and do it.
And shout out to Eddie. Eddie, sorry I missed you, but Hope is in the building as well, helping offenders on probation excel from YSM.
Okay.
So shout out.
Okay. Shout out. Who's that?
Yes, Eddie.
Oh,
I didn't realize that
don't
was
let me
him.
forget Richard Miller, keep 6. Shout out to him too. I can't forget him, obviously.
No,
Of course, Richard. Can't forget Richard.
Can't forget Richard, you know.
There you go. You're probably blasting me right
I'm
now.
gonna hear about it later, you know.
Oh man. And yo, one more shout out. Yo, honestly, Marcia Shelton, big up yourself. Love you.
Yes.
You done know
Marcia.
it. Big up yourself.
Yes.
Strong thing. Jeremy.
Yeah. I want to give a shout out to X Collective. I'm wearing their brand right now. They're always raising awareness on social justice issues, such as the stuff we're talking about today. I want to shout out to my boy Kadeem Reed right here, coach, for just putting me on the forefront and keeping me accountable and giving me the encouragement to open up and speak on these things. I wasn't always a very talkative person or anything, but he ensures me that my lived experience is enough for me to come onto the panel, and I've been doing things in my community, and it's just like about stepping up and being a leader, and you have to do that by your actions, right? So my friend right here, he's been keeping me accountable and just giving me that label, that leader, that king, and just making me assured of that. So I also wanted to say for the young people watching, my advice would be, even if you were to catch a charge or catch more charges or have a criminal record where it affects you getting employment, I just wanted to say, it's not over. There's opportunities out there, and there's even people like us on the panel out there that if you want to reach out, you could always feel free to reach out. I'm a type of person, I haven't been doing this my whole life, but I'm doing it now, and I'm willing to reach out anybody that needs that type of help or wants to, just talk about stuff, because I know it's hard. And I have a bunch of friends in jail right now, and I facilitate phone calls for them and a bunch of stuff for them right now, So I just wanted to say shout out to those guys as well, because all my friends, everyone that I talk to, incarcerated or not, we're all on the same path, and that's to overcome the system. That the system has been there before us, it'll be there after us, but it doesn't mean that we have to be stuck and trapped in the system. We can help each other. We can lend a helping hand wherever it needs to be. So shout out to everybody that watched this. I've seen a lot of people that I know in the chat too, and it just ensures to me that this is where I need to be, and these are the moves that I need to be making. So thank you guys for having me, and I appreciate it. It was very good.
Yo, you already know, everybody. This wraps up the show, the live panel, Keep 6, Gangs for Tuition, Trap Program. Sorry, I gotta do this. Sorry. Oh man. And that brings an end to this live session. Everybody, to the panelists, thank you so much for that raw energy. That was empowerment right there. That was empowerment right there. Everybody drop your info right now. Y'all got 60 seconds to do what you guys are doing. I see the chat is going crazy right now. This is nice. I like this. So everybody, thank you so much for your time. Time is important. Use your time wisely. That's something I could leave you guys with. Use your time wisely, because when you get caught up in the system, oftentimes it's not monetary payments that they make you pay with. It's your time that you pay with, and they make money off the time that you give to them. So at the end of the day, move forward strongly. Thank you so much and have yourselves a wonderful night.
Bye, everybody.